Live better and longer with the Fitzness Show, hosted by fitness expert, author, and TV personality Fitz Koehler. She'll tell you why diets are dumb, supplements are snake oil, and the truth about how you can earn a lean, hard, pain-free, and athletic body. Now for our favorite bossy blonde, Fitz Koehler.
Hi team, I'm Fitz Koehler, your newly relaxed, very noisy race announcer and fitness expert from Fitzness.com, and welcome to the Fitzness Show. Today we are going to talk all about the Essentia Health Fargo Marathon. It was the 20th anniversary this past weekend, and there's just so much to tell. It was an extraordinary weekend and a lot of heart put into this past race weekend. Yeah, Fargo is a very, very special place for a whole bunch of reasons. So we're going to get into that. But before I do, I'm going to tell you happy Global Running Day. Now, by the time you're listening to this, it probably won't be Global Running Day anymore because I'm recording this podcast on Wednesday, June 5th. That's right. It is Global Running Day today. But I want to tell all of you who do run or walk, which we include you in this running community, that I love you and thank you so much. This has been such a wonderful addition. The running has been such a wonderful addition to my career. And the best part about it is that it brings me to you. And do I love you so much? Do I love you? That's the question of the day. I mean, obviously, yes, but how much? You just don't even know. So probably better you don't know, because then you think I was a weirdo. But when I grab you at a finish line or at an expo and I give you that big squeeze, it's because I really am desperate to give you a squeeze and show you how much I care. Because, as a fitness pro, I'm constantly twisting people's arms, trying to convince people to exercise in a variety of ways and to eat right and to get the sleep and to reduce the alcohol and remove the cranky people and all of those things. But on race day, I show up and a race organization says, "Hey, Fitz, here's 5 to 25,000 people who think exercise is a great idea today. Can you make sure they know what to do, where to go, and have a great time?" And I say, hell yeah. So the running community is certainly such a wonderful, wonderful part of my life. So happy Global Running Day to you. Know that every day could be Global Running Day because there's a quadrillion people running every day. And yeah, I think it's a pretty, pretty special thing. On the celebratory note, thank you again for all the birthday wishes. They just keep coming in. It's a week or so past my birthday, but you keep sending loves. I think people are seeing a video about my birthday and they go, "Oh no, happy birthday." So it's done. It's done. Thank you for all the wishes. You can save more wishes for next year. If you missed it, don't feel bad. Happy birthday to you. Happy unbirthday to you, et cetera, et cetera. And then before I get into Fargo, I got to tell you 2 things. Is number one, we still have the Find the Pink Microphone contest going on at Fitzness.com. If you haven't been there, go and look for the pink graphic art microphone. So not just a picture of me holding a microphone with a pink windscreen. There's an actual graphic of a pink microphone hidden somewhere on my site. It's not hidden too deep. So trust me, you can find it. But once you do, you click on that microphone and it'll open up a little page for you to put your name in and so forth. And if you have any questions for me, you can ask it there. But I am so excited about my new hoodie design. That's what you're trying to win. If you click on the microphone and fill out that form, you will be entered to win the newest Fitzness hoodie. And the winner is going to get this hoodie before I do. I'm committed to making the very first one of these just for this pink microphone champion. And I am so excited about the design. I think you guys are going to be too. But anyways, go sign up. And then, okay, here's the second thing I want to tell you before I get to Fargo is my daughter, Ginger Bean. She texted me the other night, "Mom, pick up your phone." So I do. And then she FaceTimes me and she's at work. She works at a retail location. And she goes, "Mom, you're never going to guess who just came in here." And I couldn't guess. I was thinking maybe one of her ex-boyfriends, maybe there was some drama, etc. And she goes, "Shaquille O'Neal." I said, "What?" She goes, "Shaquille O'Neal was just in here." And I said, "No." And then she texted me a picture, which I did post on my Instagram story of her and Shaq. And this is how it all went down. Shaq's daughter is going to be a Gator, or I guess she is a Gator now. She's a freshman on the Gator basketball team. I'm guessing he was probably moving her up here to Gainesville. And he was going to a neighboring business and decided to look into Ginger's store. And she said she looks out and she just sees a giant man peeping in with his hands around his face, saying, "Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am?" And she was looking, thinking, "No, I don't know who you are." Huge, scary man. And then he walked away. He goes, or he walked in the store. He goes, "Everybody knows who I am." And she goes, "Are you Shaquille O'Neal?" He said, "I am." So they had great conversation. He was super sweet, super funny, and they took an adorable picture. And yeah, he was a real doll. And this is the thing. I'm a huge fan of Shaq. Not only is he an iconic basketball player, a basketball legend, but he is just a delightful human. He has a PhD. When you're a multi million dollar or millionaire athlete, do you need to pursue your education? Maybe not necessarily, but his mom told him his education was important. So he went on, got the master's, he got a PhD. He has been deputized. He's gone to the police academy. He's a reserve police officer in South Florida. He's a DJ, and he's so nice. Every time I see any social media about Shaq, he's being generous, he's being friendly, he's just an adorable human. So I was thrilled that Ginger got to meet Shaq. So I posted on my Instagram story on Fitzness. I just said, I think I tagged it. Ginger met the sweetest man on earth last night, or something like that, and I tagged her and Shaq. And so I woke up the next morning and he said, "Hey, I love your Ginger." I said, "Oh, I love her too." And I said, I've been looking forward to seeing your daughter here in Gainesville as a Gator. I'm so glad you got to spend some time with mine." And he just said, "She is so polite and so lovely. You've done such a great job." He just was such a sweet man. So Shaq, what about that? And on the bright side, I think we're probably going to get lots more Shaq in town, because he's a super dad, from what I hear, and his daughter is going to be playing lots of basketball, and we have lots of games, lots of home games here at the University of Florida. So Shaq. Who knew, right? What a fun addition to our week. And Ginger was just tickled by it, because he was very sweet and very silly, and she's just adorable too. If you think I'm a silly person, she is way more silly than I am, and so much fun. So blah blah blah. Shaq. Okay, now on to Fargo. So, whew, Fargo this year. I mean, Fargo every year is a world class event, founded by Mark Knudsen 20 years ago. It's It's high quality. It's one of those events people around the world know. I mean, it's Fargo. Who thinks, "Hey, one day I want to go to Fargo?" But a lot of people want to go to Fargo simply because Mark Knudsen created this incredible race weekend. And it's not or a race week. It's not just a race weekend. Normally on Tuesday night, there's a cyclothon, a cycling race. And then I think it's Wednesday is, I could be getting wrong. Maybe Monday is the Fargo dog race. And then Thursday night is the kids races, which have massive amount of kids. Friday is the Friday night 5K. Saturday morning is a full marathon, a half marathon, and a 10K. So there's just lots of activities. There's something for everyone of all ages, and cyclists and dogs. And Mark Knudsen was just an endurance sports junkie, and someone who not only has run many marathons himself, but he's completed Ironman triathlon, and he was a committed cyclist, and I think water skier, water sports guy, snow sports guy, just a sports guy in general. So he created something phenomenal. If you're unaware, he also created the DC Wonder Woman and DC Superhero series, which he chose me as a race announcer in 2018. And so that's where I got to know Mark, and we went from colleagues to very, very close friends and fierce champions of each other. In fact, one of the cool things about Mark, not only did he choose me and say, "Yeah, you're the one," but after our very first Wonder Woman race, and sometimes you're putting on an event for the first time in a new place, not everything goes right. And I thought more things went right on that night in Sacramento, California, than things went wrong. But at the end, everybody was putting things up and whatever. And I went over to Mark and I said, "Hey, how was your night?" And he said, "Thank you for being the only thing I didn't have to worry about." And I thought, "Oh, thank you." He goes, "You were perfect. You were the only thing that didn't go wrong, and the only thing I didn't have to worry about." And I thought, well, that's a really, really nice thing to say. So I congratulated him on a very successful event. And then we had, I think, 5 Wonder Woman events in 2018. And then in 2019, I think we had 10 to 12. I had to pass 2 off to a friend of mine. I had my friend Stephanie announce in my place because of Big Sur Marathon and LA Marathon kept me occupied. But that was the year I was sick, or one of the years I was sick, and Mark was he was fantastic. He believed in me. He believed I would be that I would recover from cancer, and then he was also said, "Hey, if for some reason you can't show up Even if it's the last minute, let me know. We'll take care of it. He had a medical director on the team that was always keeping an eye on me, and he's just lovely. They created a wonderful uh, video of encouragement for one of the Wonder Womans that I missed. I think when I was announcing LA or Big Sur. Anyways, just a great guy, and we became very very close friends. And he would always tell me he said, "I'm on Team Fitz," and I would say, "I'm on Team Mark." And we had some drama. I had some mean girls involved in that Wonder Woman experience. And yeah, even I fall victim to the mean girls sometimes, but I kept my head down, and eventually Mark figured it out, and he got rid of the mean girls. He fired them from the team. But anyways, loyal and supportive and funny, and just a cool guy. So he brought me in as the announcer for Fargo after the pandemic, which I loved being there. What a wonderful event. And do I come for the race directors? I do. I love my race directors. In fact, I would do anything for most of my race directors. But the community in Fargo is very unique. Fargo is just, I think anyone will tell you, they're kind. It's a culture of kindness. It's a culture of patience and manners and encouragement. It's a very special community in that regard, and it was a delight to become a part of that and be so warmly embraced into the Fargo community. So I think I've been announcing there since 2020. I think it was September of 2020. And yeah, so in July of 23, I got a text. I don't know, July 9th in 23. I was going somewhere, a family event. I got a text from a runner. I can't remember who it was, but he said, uh, Mark Knudsen died today. And I just said, no, he didn't. And I texted him. I texted Mark and I said, please tell me you're okay. And there was no response. And yeah, he was killed. He was riding his bike and collided with a truck pulling a boat. That's what I know. And I don't know if anybody knows exactly what happened, but we lost Mark that day. And just punishing, just absolutely punishing. I don't think I've talked about it on my show at all. I think I gave a little update that I was going last week. But anyways, it's been a very, very hard year. And, you know, the loss for me is significant because we were close friends. We did keep in touch, and I just cared so much about him. But he's so close with his family, right? He has these parents. And as soon as I started announcing Wonder Woman, I met his family because they came out, right? They flew across the country to be with him, to support him. His parents, his two sisters, he has sisters. They're not his twin, they're twins with each other. Two sisters and three children, a newborn granddaughter who I think was born probably about 5, 6 months before he passed. A beautiful, wonderful girlfriend who I've since become quite close with, and mm, just a special man. So not only painful for me to lose my friend, and boy do I miss him, but I hate that they are without him. Just to see a family that's so close um, ripped apart that way is just torture to know what they must be going through. So it's just been a hard year. It's been a very, very hard year. And as soon as he passed, it was interesting. I started getting messages from people in Fargo saying, please come back this year. Please, I hope you're coming back this year. And I would just say, I don't know. I mean, I'm Mark's announcer, right? Mark wasn't going to have any racers of significance without me, but the owners, the Ventures Endurance, I have no idea if they have any use for me, right, or care. Mark definitely cared, and so there was a lot of, "Are you coming? Are you coming?" And I just kept saying, "I don't know. I hope so." And I know the family made a request that I be there, and Ventures yielded to that, and I'm very appreciative of that. So, was looking forward to getting back to Fargo for many reasons. I'm looking forward to getting my arms around his family, just give him a hug. I was invited to do the eulogy at his funeral, and I really wanted to be there in person. I had a race that morning in Ohio, so we actually kind of even looked into private planes to see maybe we could fly me in. But if the service was an hour later, I could have made it, but we just couldn't get me on the ground in Fargo quickly enough to be a part of that service. So I had I did a eulogy via video and sent that. So yeah, I'm happy I could say my piece and share my memories and thoughts about Mark at his service, which again, they played at a video board in the church. But really, I just wanted to hug my people, hug his people, and be with that Fargo community. So I was looking forward to that, but I've also been really kind of nervous about it. I hate to say I was nervous, but yeah, just a hole in my stomach because then I have to be a Fargo without him. This is the being there, right? To be there without him just seemed awful and stressful. And I definitely did have a lot of anxiety over it. It just, what do you do when you lose someone you love so much, someone you care about so much, someone who's so important and such a fixture, and you have to go on, right? It just, so uh, I think about a month or so ago, his girlfriend Donna had reached out to say, would you say something? We'd like you to speak about Mark, pay a tribute. And so of course I agreed to that. And they're such a wonderful family. They are not interested in being on a stage. They are not interested in being on a microphone. And you just have to respect that, right? They're mourning peacefully, they're mourning privately. So then I was tasked with that. And I'm the girl, right? I'm happy to do it, happy to honor my friend. But again, thinking, oh man, how am I going to get through this? I mean, when I recorded my eulogy, I had to constantly delete massive segments of me just sobbing here at my desk to remove them. So yeah, I mean, it's hard as you can imagine. So, anyways, took my trip to Fargo last weekend, and again, bittersweet on the plane. Very grateful, as you've heard recently. I've had whoa some unfortunate travel experiences. So I was happy that all three of my flights, Gainesville to Atlanta to Minneapolis to Fargo, everything was smooth sailing, which was an incredible gift. And then there I was in Fargo. Thankfully, I had some old friends, Amy and Nadia. They used to live in Gainesville, moved to Sioux Falls. They drove over to Fargo to visit with me. So we had dinner, we played some billiards, played some pool, had some breakfast, went for a walk, and then they went on their way. But Friday was the expo day, and we also had a panel that I was hosting, and everything was different this year. So normally everything starts and finishes in the Fargo Dome, which is a real highlight for this race weekend. Now, Mark had planned, apparently, the Fargo Marathon, the very first year, started and finished on a bridge. I can't tell you what bridge it is, but on a bridge. And then for the 10th anniversary, they moved the start and finish back to the bridge. In Mark's plans, he was going to once again move this race to the bridge on the 20th anniversary to celebrate. We did not end up on a bridge, and I don't know why. I have absolutely no explanation for that. I'm sure there was some rhyme or reason to it, but we were also not in the Fargo Dome, so things were very different. We had the expo at Concordia College, which was in Moorhead, which is right next to Fargo, and it's in Minnesota. So that was very interesting to be over there. And I'm going to tell you about this. I had a hard time getting to and from Concordia. In fact, I was trying to get an Uber from my hotel in downtown Fargo to Concordia, and the rideshare kept saying, "We can't get you a ride over here." And I thought, well, maybe because the roads are closed or something. So I made a call. My friend Babs, thanks, Babs from Boston, one of my favorite runners. She picked me up in a rental car, dropped me off at the expo. The expo was slamming, man, packed expo, a big line around the building. The line moved very, very quickly, but there were thousands of people very eager to get into that expo that day. And we like that on race weekend. We like a busy expo. So we get there, and then I hosted a panel discussion, which was pretty cool. It was Dick Beardsley, and you might recognize the name, maybe not. He's from back in the day. Let's see, his heyday was 40 years ago. But Dick was a friend of Mark's, and he was the co-champion of the first London Marathon in 1981. And he and a Norwegian guy, they ended up kind of breaking away from the pack and running the last length of the marathon together. And without even planning ahead, as they crossed the finish line side by side, they grabbed each other's hands, held it up, and they were the co-champions of London, which was pretty awesome. And then the very next year, Dick was running Boston Marathon, 1982, and he lost a very close race to Alberto Salazar. And there's been books written about this race, but yeah, Dick actually thinks he has had more success in his retirement because of that close defeat, rather than if he had won the thing. So he's a lovely man, with a tremendous running background. And then I also had Dakota Lindworm, and Dakota won third. She came in third place in the Olympic trials in the marathon in Orlando. So she's going to go run in Paris this summer. And so the two of them, I was the host. I spent about 30 minutes asking them questions about how they got started with how did they get into the marathon and some of their best experiences and some of their training advice. And oh, I actually talked to Dakota about those skimpy Nike outfits, the ones that everybody's been freaking out about. Like, how dare Nike come out with these skimpy outfits that show off your crotch? I guess I don't know how better to say it. And she says she will be issued that outfit. I don't know if she's already been issued it, but what she was saying is basically they put it on a crappy mannequin, and the people that have worn that outfit really their lady parts aren't hanging out of it. So I thought that was an interesting part of the discussion. So that was my great, and well, one of my great contributions is let's get to the bottom of these skimpy bottoms. But then we had a Q&A, and the audience had a ton of great questions, and Dick and Dakota were absolutely lovely. They were wonderful guest speakers, and yeah, they answered all the questions thoroughly with great, just pleasant demeanors. It was a really nice experience. So, anyways, left over there, went over to the start line. Now, Friday night used to be just the regular old 5K, but this year it's turned into the official Mark Knutson Friday night 5K. And Mark loved 80s music. He loved 80s rock. In fact, when I think of Mark, or whenever I think of Def Leppard, I think of Mark. So they did a great job theming that race and naming that race for him, which I think was a classy move. I think it was the right move. And we had 2,400 people come out for the 5K. And I mean, it's usually quite a big event. I don't know if it's normally that big, but we had a lot of people, and we had a ton of people that were exclusively out there just for Mark. And people just said, I've never done a race before. I'm doing this for Mark. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see my swag. There's some of the local runners made up MK race gear, and thank you. They gave me a running singlet and a hoodie, which I really appreciate. But so it was an 80s theme, and we encouraged everybody to dress the part. Now, you've seen me wear all sorts of things on race day, right? The Wonder Woman outfit, the buffalo hat, the pirate gear at Gasparilla. I am not above dressing silly because why not? Why not? It makes it more entertaining for the masses. So I had a big decision to make. What kind of 80s gear was I going to wear? And so I was going to sell out. I ordered some Madonna gear. You know what I'm saying? The black skirt and the gloves and so forth. And I was just going to go that typical 80s Madonna chick. And I ordered that gear off Amazon, and then it really started to bother me. I thought, oh, but Mark loved Def Leppard. I can't do Madonna. And so finally, at the last minute, I was able to go hunt down a Def Leppard shirt. I had spotted one at TJ Maxx. I took my son shopping there a few days prior, and I got back to TJ Maxx, and they still had the Def Leppard shirt. I cut the sleeves off, and I wore some shiny pants, and I felt much better about that. I thought Mark would approve of this. That Madonna outfit wasn't going to cut it for me, but the Def Leppard outfit suited me just fine. People started gathering. We had a big start line area in a parking lot next to the roads where our actual start line was. Big stage, big DJ, and everybody was in really good spirits. Mark's family was there, and I want to say they were in good spirits, but they're not. They're still suffering. They're still suffering. It's the first time I've seen them since we lost Mark, so it was nice to be able to give them hugs, but just awful to see their broken hearts. And I had asked if they wanted to come on the stage, and I was assured that was not going to happen. And I think it might have been easier for me if they were with me. Just I don't know. I don't know. It was hard to do, right? But then I thought, okay, here I go. I got to do this. And I normally I don't speak with a script. As you know, I don't speak with a script. I just speak. And thankfully, a day prior, I had talked with Rudy Novotny. If you don't know Rudy, where have you been? He's my co-announcer and my bestie on Team Noisy. And he said, "You know what? Maybe you should write something down." And I actually said, "No, I don't read when I'm on a stage. So no, I'm not going to do that." And then I started thinking about it, and I thought, "Oh, you know what? I better write something down." So I did. I wrote something out on my computer, and I printed it out, and I was twisting in the wind, man. It was stomach churning to have to launch into that, and I had to do it on time, right? It was scheduled right before the anthem. So I pulled out my little paper and I said, "Hey guys, we're going to take a moment to talk about Mark. And I'm sorry I'm reading, but this is hard." And I choked my way through that presentation and oy, just hard. Just hard. That's all I can say is difficult. And, out of the corner of my eyes, his sisters are crying and his mom is crying. And it's just, it's just painful. We lost someone so freaking special. So sometimes we have to do hard things, right? The hard things are the most important things, are often the most important things. And so I don't know if you've lost someone and there's an opportunity to honor them, I think you should. I think even if you cry publicly, which the loss of Mark has made me do quite a few times at this point, it's okay. Those tears just they show you care. They show you're suffering. They're not a requirement. You don't have to cry. I wish I hadn't, but it's important to do these hard things. I see people that say, "Well, my I have to put my dog down, right? I've got to put my dog. I don't want to witness that. I'm just going to send my dog off with a vet, and the vet will take care of it." You know what? That your dog deserves to feel safe with you. Your dog deserves to feel loved at that last moment. So you should do what's hard. It might make you feel sad, but it'll make the one you love feel good. Perhaps there's a funeral service and someone special to you. Stand up and speak. It's okay if you stutter, it's okay if you stagger, it's okay if you're not perfectly eloquent, but I think it's essential that you honor, the people and the things that are meaningful to you when the time comes. So I did that, and it was hard. I'm just gonna stop there. It was hard, but I got through it, thank goodness, and, yeah, got through it, turned it over to Andy Peterson, Mark's best friend's daughter, who sings not only the American anthem, but the Canadian anthem like a swan. Golly, gorgeous voice. And then it was time for me to turn my frown upside down. And that's very, very interesting to be so sad and stressed and then be responsible for the celebration. And so that was when I turned to hit my on switch. I hope everybody has an on switch, and I do. So my obligation was to make sure those 2,400 people had a fantastic time at the start. And we honored Mark that way too. So snapped into gear and yeah, did the start line thing, and the crowds were super receptive, super happy, super joyful. We had great 80s music playing at the start line. And this is very funny. I'm on the stage and then I look around, there's this big green bull, a mascot behind me, just kind of roaming around. I'm thinking, where's that bull from? And so I said, "Hey bull, come over here." And then I see this corn cob mascot. That's right, it's a life-size corn cob roaming around. I said, "Hey, corn cob, come here." And so I bring them up on my stage, and now everything's happy again. Okay. Everything's fun and silly because I've got this bull and this corn cob, and I'm not from there. And I don't really know who they belong to or what they're all about, but I love them. I'm still not sure where the bull came from. The Colonel, oh, that's his name. The Colonel, the corn cob, is from Concordia College there in Minnesota. So I don't know. Are they the corn cobs? I have to look into that. But yeah, so I had a bull and a corn cob. And then I think it was a hawk that I saw, and I said, "Hey hawk, come on up here." So the start line was great fun. We were running through the very narrow streets, town streets in a neighborhood right there in Moorhead. So we sent everybody off in about 10 waves. And I really love the waves because I love the start line. I find the further we go back at the start line, the more fun my participants are, the more silly they get, the more silly I get. So the mascots and the silly people and we had a super fun time. When I yelled go for the last time, then I was notified, "Hey, the first 5K finisher has already finished." So I grabbed my crap and I sprinted off. It was about 100 yards distance between the finish and the start and the finish line. So I ran over there, and yeah, we had our fastest few coming through the start line. So grabbed that microphone, cranked up that 80s mix, which was my mix. And I hope if you come to any of my races, I purchase all that music. I mix it all custom for start and finish lines because I have very high expectations, high demands on music. It has to be a certain pace, a certain vibe. I want all generations, all genres. It's all mixed together and makes me very, very happy. So I made a custom 80s mix, and it was killer. It was so great. I really enjoyed it. And I will bring it to future events. But it was just a wonderful atmosphere, and people were coming through happy style. The streets were packed with fans. I mean, think Boston Marathon and then throw that in a tiny neighborhood in Minnesota. Just crazy. The streets were so busy with Cheer Squad, which we loved. And I'm standing at the finish line, welcoming athletes by name and high fiving them. And all of a sudden, I see the mascots roaming around. But it's not just three anymore. Now there are seven mascots. So, and I have the NDSU, North Dakota State University. Their bison is out there in a football uniform. He kind of, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I thought this bison was kind of sexy. A mascot, and he's muscular, and he's wearing the tight football pants and the jersey. It just kind of looked hot. So, whatever. So now I'm calling, hey, bull, get over here. Hey, hawk, there's a falcon, there's a bear. So we had, and the dragon. So it was the bull and the bison, a hawk, a falcon, a dragon, a bear, and the corn cob. That's right. So I keep calling them over one by one, and I have them make a line about, I don't know, it starts maybe 20 yards before the finish line. And so they have this high five line, and our athletes were adorable. They were delighted to see the mascots and high fiving every last one of them, stopping for photos and dancing. It was adorable. And I don't think those mascots had any idea how much levity they provided to this experience. It was very important. It went from a difficult thing to a joyous celebration, and it was meaningful. I think everybody had a great time. There was a lot of cool 80s outfits, and every type of person. That's one of the great things about running, right? And Global Running Day. Really, it's everybody. And where I think it's weird how we're always trying to, not we, not me, but a lot of groups are like, we're going to have only women here, or only men here, or only gay people, or only dark people, or whatever. I love at a start line where we're all together. That's it. It's not about who you are, or who you sleep with, or where you pray, or what your skin looks like. It's about us. We're all going to get here together, and we're going to do this thing. We're going to go the distance together, right? And then we're going to the finish line, and we're all going to be together. And I would say a 5K in particular is the greatest example of that, because it's a short enough different distance to accommodate all ages and almost all fitness levels. So we had so many families with strollers, which was allowed. Not every race allows strollers. This one did. There was a bunch of kids on fee registered running, which was great. Our least young athlete, Lois, who has completed this race more than once. She was there with us last year. Lois was 93. She crossed that finish line. So cute. Oh my gosh. Little white hair and the big blue eyes. And she did the race with her daughter and her granddaughter and her great granddaughter. There were 4 generations out there, which was magnificent. And yeah, I mean, every shape, every size, everything. I mean, I feel like every day is Global Running Day, right? Because there's just all of us doing the thing, whether you go super fast or super slow. We don't care. Just get out and get moving. So it's just a real privilege to be a part of that. So yeah, we had the costumes, we had the mascots, we had Mark's family, his 3 children, Michael and CJ and Carly. They did the 5K and they walked it. Mark's girlfriend, Donna, ran the race. She's a talented athlete. Mark's best friend, Dana, his best friend, Mike, they did the race. And oh, just so many people. Mark's high school friends, the Hillsborough Burros came out. Um, just nice. Just really nice. It was just good all the way around. Oh, and the swag was really great. Black t-shirts with this cool star shape and yellow and red. It was just cool rocker gear. And you look around and you think, I think Mark would like this, right? I think Mark would be proud of this. And F everything. He should have been there, but he wasn't. So it's good to do something in his honor that you think he would appreciate. So I hope he did. I hope his family enjoyed the weekend, and I hope that Mark Knutson Friday Night 5K sticks around for a very, very long time. Now, I told you I had a hard time getting to Concordia College because the ride share said no, we can't bring you there, and I thought it was because of the road closures. So when I leave, no, when I leave, I'm pretty much the last person to leave other than the ops people. There's no runners left. The sound people are tying things up, but almost everybody's gone by the time I leave. So I get my backpack, and what I do is I just kind of walk outside of the coned off area, right? Where the traffic opens up. I feel like if I get out on that main street, surely I'm going to be able to get a lift or an Uber. And I go out there and it says, nope, can't get ride share in this service. Nope, can't get ride share. And so I'm just kind of roaming around thinking, yikes, how am I going to get back to my hotel? And actually, one of the niceties is I'm walking kind of adjacent to the college, and there's all of these turkeys. That's right. I met a big family of turkeys, and that was kind of fun for me because I love animals. So I tried to be friends with the turkeys. They were not so interested in being Fitz Koehler's friend, but I got kind of close and I thought they were kind of cute. So that was a nice treat, being lost and roaming around Moorhead, Minnesota. But what I found is that they just simply wouldn't allow rideshare in that area. And I thought it was the college. I thought it was a college rule. What it turns out is Lyft won't allow rideshare to cross state lines, which is bonkers to me because we were right next to North Dakota. But yeah, they weren't gonna cross state lines. So that was crazy. And I thought, geez, what am I gonna do? Thankfully, I texted Mark's girlfriend Donna. I said, "Are you here?" And she happened to have just been gone to get her car. So she came and grabbed me and brought me back to my hotel, which I was very grateful for. But that was a tricky situation. And if you travel, sometimes you just get stuck and you're like, what the heck's going on? What am I going to do? And that was one of those nights. And here's a little bonus is I would like to announce a race in all 50 states. There's so many people who run a race in all 50 states. My goal would be to announce at least one in every state. So on a fluke, I announced in Minnesota. I didn't even know I was doing it at the time. And then I found out, oh, Moorhead College is in Minnesota. And now I've checked that one off the box. Lucky me. Now, Fargo Marathon in general is famous for 50 staters. So if people are planning to run a race, whether it's a 5K, half full, whatever distance in every state, almost all of them come through Fargo because Fargo is the big deal race weekend in North Dakota. I believe there's also Bismarck, North Dakota Marathon, Bismarck Marathon, and then there's another race I'm unfamiliar with. But this is the one people come to. So we always have a ton of 50 staters. So I'm kind of one of them, and so I've got North Dakota and I've got Minnesota. Hooray for me! Hit the hotel for some late night food and got to bed because race weekend starts early. So Saturday for our 5K half marathon, I'm sorry, 10K half marathon and full marathon, we did not start on the bridge. We did not start in the zone or the dome. I'm not sure why, but we ended up starting on the roads outside of the dome. And it was great. It was fine by me. I had nothing against any of it. There's a lot of people that were very disappointed because they always hear how cool it is to start and finish in the dome, which is true. It's great. I mean, it's temperature controlled, so whether it's super hot or super cold outside, it doesn't really bother you because you're in this air conditioned climate. There's seats with chair backs, so your spectators have a relaxing place to sit and wait while you're going the distance. There's a lot of really nice features in the Fargo Dome. Also showers and regular bathrooms. So those are the perks of being out there. But it felt like a normal race to me. I mean, because all the other races are outside, or most of them. So start and finish line I thought was quite lovely. And we had to switch our races around. I think it was supposed to be full marathoners first, followed by half, and then the 10K. We flip flopped the half and the full marathon start because there was some flooding and the course needed to be changed. I have zero behind the scenes knowledge on that. Mark used to give me the behind the scenes stuff, but our new race director didn't communicate any of that. So I really just took responsibility for my location, start and finish line. And again, there were so many people who came out just because of Mark, and it was on the back of their shirts. They would cross the finish line and the shirt would say, "My only marathon. This is my one and only marathon in honor of Mark." That was it. So a huge crowd. I think we had about 8,000 or so athletes between all three distances. Weather was beautiful. It was cool in the morning, nice and sunny all day. The fans were enthusiastic, and there's just a lot of love. It's just a sweet, happy, wonderful place full of kind people. We had all 50 states represented in our athletes. So Hawaii, Alaska, Arkansas, Utah, and Georgia, Florida, you name it. There was someone from every single one of our American states, which is very cool. And there's a lot of races who come close. I'd say quite a few of the races I announce score all 50, but it's a special thing when we get all 50. And then a ton of Canadians since we're so close to Canada. I think there was almost 700 Canadians. And then we had some Mexicans and some Chinese and a German and a Norwegian and a little bit of everything. So it was a diverse group, and again, big happy faces. One of the highlights of the day was Mark Knutson's son, CJ, running his very first marathon. Again, that year, Mark had two babies. He had a human baby and he had a race baby. And CJ ran this one for his dad, and he was fast. He finished, I believe, under 4 hours. And his sisters and his mom came up to my stage so they could see and they could cheer for him. And he just looked really strong. Again, another thing. I know um, Mark would be just over the moon, and I'm sure he was running along with CJ on Saturday. It was pretty fantastic, and I just love their family. It's great to see them celebrate each other, and they're so supportive. And I'm sure they're probably a little ornery with each other on occasion, as all families are. But I've never seen it. All I've seen is the bright and cheery side of the Knutsons, and so that's what I'm gonna harp on. I imagine the Knutsons are just perfect, and they never ever get cranky. Um, Andrea, one of the Fargo locals, one of Mark's friends, she actually came through not only with a shirt about Mark, but she had this big white flag. And I race announcing is a lot more than reading whatever sponsor notes. So there's a lot of race announcers who do just, if you hire a local TV guy or a local DJ, he's probably just going to sit in the booth and read whatever you tell him to read. And then he's going to say, like, bib number 1, 2, 3, 4, good job. Bib 3, 4, 5, 6, good job. That's what you're going to get. But if you have a professional announcer, there's all these things going on, and we're looking out for not only happy moments and uh, celebratory things and funny things and great outfits and anything that adds color to the experience of not only the athlete but the spectators. But then we're looking out for safety. Are there people in the finish line chute who shouldn't be there? Are people bringing their kids or babies in there? And that puts everyone at risk, including the kids and babies and those people on their last legs. And then are they bringing things into the finish line? Like bicyclists should not be in the finish line. That puts everybody in major danger. And so this woman's coming down the pipe and she's got this big white flag. And, a flag's not going to hurt anybody unless somebody's weaponizing it. But sometimes people, like now we have heated times. People are hostile with each other or they're protesting this or that. And I saw this white flag I didn't recognize. And I just thought, oh Lord, what is this going to be? And usually if I see something that's off color, I just ignore it. I just say nothing. Yeah, I just don't find it my place to get political at a finish line. So this white flag is coming to me and I'm thinking, yikes, what does this woman have? And then it was beautiful. It was a big flag with Mark's face on it and some kind words. It was just really lovely. Andrea, how did I not recognize her in her American flag pants? But yeah, I guess I was too worried about what this flag could be, but it was custom made and it was perfection. And yeah, I mean, just good stuff all the way around. We had a bunch of late finishers, so I think we have a 6-hour cutoff, which was not held to strictly at all. We still had people coming in at over 7 hours, and that's just fine. They've gone the distance, and we can be there to make their welcome warm and celebrate their finish. We're happy to do that. The children's races this year and the dog races were moved from their traditional days on to the end of Saturday. So that was interesting to get done with a marathon, half marathon, and 10K, and then have a kids race to start. Fortunately for me, I am so energized by runners of all sorts, and these kids are super silly, and their parents are so enthusiastic to have their child doing something so fantastic like a race. So my energy was there because I was excited to be with them. And as our final finishers were coming through the finish line, which is where our children were going to start, they were lining the fences. And so they were cheering for our grown-ups and our marathoners. And I would pass around my big old pink cowbell and let each of the kid have a chance, each of the children have a chance ringing that cowbell. And they were very sweet. And apparently my cowbell is too big for some little ones because they struggled with it, which was kind of comical. But yeah, once we got our final marathoner through, we sent off, I'd say, 200 kids and their parents for about 3/4 of a mile, and they were awesome. They were excited and proud, and I didn't see any tears. I don't recall seeing any tears, which is nice when you have a kids races because you never know. Sometimes someone's got to cry, but I don't think I saw any criers. I just saw happy children. And if you have a child in your life, please get them registered for a race. This is the sport that they can do forever. And know that if you're 45 or 73, it's probably really hard to join a lacrosse team or a cheerleading team. That gets tricky. But no matter how old you are, there's always a race you could register for. Even if you're not racing, even if you're just going to go slow and get it done, go the distance, you get the shirt, you get the medal, you get the camaraderie, you get the motivation, the discipline that comes along with sports. And it's really something we want all of our little ones to start experiencing from the get-go, and make this part of their culture, make this part of who they are, that they're a person who just registers for a race once a month. Hmm, that would be nice, right? And so, if your child is accustomed to racing, whether they run or walk, hopefully they'll continue that into their 20s when they leave their home. And then they'll continue that for the rest of their life. And they won't have heart disease or diabetes type 2, and they won't have a stroke or cancer, certain cancers, because they didn't take care of their body. So you can really set children up for a lifetime of health and athletic adventure just by doing something as simple as bringing them out to a kids race. You got that? So that was fantastic. And then while they were running, the probably almost, well, I gotta say, even cuter athletes were lined up outside the fencing because our Fargo dog race was about to take place. And so while the kids are taking off, I made the announcement to all the owners. I said, "Hey guys, I left my two dogs at home in Florida, and you are morally obligated to introduce your dogs to me so I can have a pet." And so they did. They just lined up the fences and introduced me to Truman and Jefferson and, oh, I don't know, all these Bodie and the cutest dogs ever, all the different types of dogs. We had pit bulls and doodles and dachshunds and toy things and big fluffy dogs I'd never seen before, probably because I don't live in the north. I have Fargo. These dogs can handle major cold. Oh, it was fantastic. And they were all good dogs, right? They're purebreds and adopted dogs. And the thing they all had in common is that their owners loved them desperately and spent a lot of time training them. And so all the dogs showed up and they were good boys and good girls and the best friends all the people ever had. And of course, nobody is more joyful at a start line than dog owners. They're just so proud to get Fido out there and show off their dog. And so enjoyed starting that race and just being a part of that. And I did, man, I gave the pets. Now, I want to tell you something that I saw. It was on Instagram, and this is probably a no brainer, but I still have to pass it along because I love animals so much that I'm a bit of a I've been foolish in the past. I just want to kiss all the dogs. And I saw a plastic surgeon on Instagram giving it was top 3 things I wish people would never do. And number 1 was like get a sunburn type thing. And number 2 was do not put your face near other people's dogs. Right? So your own dog that you trust that you know is not going to bite your face, fine. But you never know, even if this dog is calm and sweet, if you put your face near that dog, it might bite your face and then you're maimed forever. So I have been trying to live up to that advice. It's great advice. And yeah, I'm working hard on not kissing all the dogs. And you may be shaking your head saying, Fitz, you are a dumb person. You should never do that. And you're right. I am trying to not do that anymore. So I think I did kiss one tiny dog on its booty this weekend, but I don't think I put my face near any of the others. And kudos to me because that shows a sign. That's a sign of maturity for sure, right? That is a sign of maturity. And then I pass along this golden information. And how many of you am I saving from scars or, I don't know, pain? Nobody wants to be bit. So, yeah, don't put your face by a dog that's not yours. The end. Yeah, it was a great weekend. Okay. Let me tell you about this. So after that, I got a short little break, and then there was the Joan Jett concert That night, that's right. We had Joan Jett performing in Fargo. I believe she was there because of the Fargo Marathon Race Week. I don't know if it was happenstance and they just promoted each other, but I instantly bought Joan Jett tickets. I said yes. So I ended up going with my friend Babs, the one I mentioned at the start from Boston, and then my friend Dave Beck, who I know through the USATF Women's 6K Championship in Canton, Ohio. Dave used to own the race. He's always driven me around to and from the airport. Wonderful man, owns a bunch of cool businesses, just neat, 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 sweet, sweet, sweet. And so the 3 of us went together. Now, what's cool is Babs is going to join me in July for the USATF Women's 6K Championship. So we had dinner with Dave. Now, Babs and Dave know each other. We're going to go do some putt-putt at Dave's business. He owns a putt-putt course. We're going to have lots of Canton fun as a team. But we had a trial run on date night for the 3 of us, and we did dinner, and then we went to the Joan Jett concert. Now, I if you I hope everybody knows Joan Jett, right? I don't have to explain Joan Jett. I love rock and roll. But one of the things I was thinking is, okay, I love her, and I love about 6 of her songs, but I don't know probably more than 6 of her songs. What is this show going to be like? Because she's certainly going to perform more than 6 songs. And I'm going to start by saying when she came out, she's just so cool looking. She looks great. She's 65. She's in great shape. And she looks just like she's supposed to look. And she sounds exactly the way she sounded 40 years ago when I Love Rock and Roll came out, right? She killed it. And a couple of weeks ago, I watched her documentary. I think it's Netflix or Amazon. I don't know. There's a good Joan Jett documentary. I was interested in it. And it gave me a little insight into who she is because I don't really know much about her personal life. Not that I need to know about her personal life, but her background. It was great to see how she got started. She started in a girl band, and then there was some side sort of, I don't know, not I don't know, some of the girls got ornery, mean girl stuff, and so Joan ended up going on her own, and obviously that was a good move for her. But so we're in the pit. I don't know if I've ever been in the pit at a concert before, but it was very fun, and there was a bunch of grown-ups there, so there was no raucous OMG pit behavior. It was just grown-ups in the pit, kind of dancing, maybe pumping their fists a little bit. But she started off with Cherry Bomb, and then she started mixing in some songs I had never heard of. And it's funny because the songs all sounded very 80s and the lyrics were also very 80s. And they kind of all sounded kind of similar, but they were good. And then she mixed in a few covers, which I very much liked. I can't remember what the covers were, but they were good. And I started waiting, thinking, okay, now I'm tired. I've been up since 4 a.m. for the marathon. I got to go to sleep. Come on and give me I Love Rock and Roll. And she did. Finally, she gave me I Love Rock and Roll, followed immediately by Crimson and Clover, Bad Reputation. And then we were out of there, and so was everybody else. So it was a really good show. I highly recommend her. I know that she tours with, I think last year she toured with Def Leppard and Motley Crue, which had to be one heck of a show. I believe they're going on tour again this year with some other heavy hitters in the rock and 80s genre. So, yeah, give that a go if you want to. We had a lot of fun. And then the next morning, while I was flying out of Fargo Airport at the crack of dawn or before dawn, I'm walking through the airport to go get a hot tea, and I look over, sitting on a bench, is this it's the drummer. And it was a four-piece band. That was it. There was four of them. So it's easy to recognize who they were. And so I said, Joe Jett, drummer? And he said, yeah. So I stopped for a cute little conversation with him, and he was so nice. His name is Michael McDermott, and he's from Delray, Florida. So we started interacting about this or that. I told him I was newly playing guitar. He thought that was very cool that I was a grown up learning guitar. And he was a fantastic drummer. And so we decided to follow each other on Instagram. And he looks up Fitzness on his phone and he goes, do you know Frank? How do you know Frank and Sarah? And I said, what? So if you were going to follow someone on Instagram, it will tell you if any of your friends follow that person. It'll say like Fitzness follows this person or whatever, someone you know. So I said, I went to high school with Frank. He goes, I was in a band with Frank. And I said, really? And then I remembered, yeah, Frank was in the band. Now, Frank was a few years older than me. He was very cool. He was a surfer guy, a pretty boy, had the swoopy, wavy hair to the side, super hot. Or at least I was a freshman. I thought he was super hot. Probably was super hot. And anyway, so now I said, he sings, right? He goes, he doesn't sing, he raps. I said, he's a rapper? He goes, yeah, and his stage name is Crime. I thought, Crime? My pretty boy surfer is Crime. So that's interesting. And then Michael, the drummer, he goes, well, I also used to be in a band called Collapsing Lungs. And I said, OMG, my friend Chris was in Collapsing Lungs. He goes, yeah, Chris Nicholas. And I said, I went to high school with him too. And so we just had a lot of fun friends in common. And, sometimes you just got to introduce yourself and talk to each other. So we've connected a few times on the gram, and hopefully I'll get to go see him at one of his future shows. I'm going to make a plan on that because it was a lot of fun. And yeah, it's just nice to get to know some new friends, right? Especially now that I'm a cool musician with my mediocre strum acoustic guitar playing. But yeah, maybe one day. Maybe one day I'll be on a stage with McDermott rocking out. We'll see. We'll see, right? Okay. Thank you all for listening. And if you ran Fargo, thank you for all the support. I really appreciated the love that I received. It's very special to be a part of that family. And, I hope I get to continue coming back there. I don't know without Mark if that will happen, but I'd really like to. I love all the people on the race committee. I love the local runners. I love the cheerleaders. I love the volunteers. I just love it all. And, it's been wonderful. So Fargo, thank you for the love. I love you back and I love you completely. And our song of the week. Our song of the week. What is it? Well, of course, in honor of Mark Knudsen, it's Def Leppard's Pour Some Sugar on Me. Go ahead and add that to your playlist, and you can go running with it, or you can lift weights, or you can do Pilates, or you can do cool yoga versus lame yoga with lame music. That's right. Def Leppard, Pour Some Sugar on Me. Folks, if you haven't done so already, click like on this show, follow the show, get the notifications when the new Fitzness show episodes are coming out. If you haven't done so already, leave a review for crying out loud, and go to fitzness.com and find that darn microphone. I want you to win that hoodie because it's going to be so good. I'm really, really excited about the design. And as usual, excited about you. I love you all. Get to work.
Hi, this is Rudy Novotny, the voice of America's Marathons. We all love how much running has benefited every aspect of our lives, so much so that most of us only wish we'd started sooner. Wouldn't it be wonderful to gift the opportunity to children of today? Well, you can. The Morning Mile is a before-school walking and running program that gives children a chance to start each day in an active way while enjoying fun, music, and friends. That's every child, every day. It's also supported by a wonderful system of rewards, which keeps students highly motivated and frequently congratulated. Created by our favorite fitness expert, Fitz Koehler, Morning Milers across the country have run over 2 million miles and are having greater success with academics, behavior, and sports because of it. The Morning Mile is free to the child, free to the school, and is inexpensively funded by businesses or generous individuals. Help more kids get moving in the morning by visiting morningmile.com. Champion the program at your favorite school or find out more about sponsorship opportunities. That's morningmile.com. Long may you run.